What's Music Canvas all about? Find out from its founder coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning with the Fox 43 studio, we're focused on Music Canvas. And we're visiting with its founder, Rocky T. Fretz. Good morning, Rocky.
Good to see you, Greg.
Thanks so much for coming in.
Oh, thanks for having me. I'm thrilled to be here.
Does that sound weird, hearing that like you're the founder of something? Of course, Street Reach, another thing we got to talk about, you being a founder of, as well as some other amazing things.
I'm an idea guy. I really love to come up with unique ways to make projects happen, and these are some of the tools that you've mentioned, or some of the tools we use to just try to raise money, music awareness, arts awareness, education. Right. It's fun.
Hearing, to see that you'd founded Street Reach back in '95, I think you said we're celebrating a decade this year.
Yes, it may be the 11th.
That alone would be something to put a tag on and wear it around. I mean, all the efforts that go into Street Reach.
Oh, the blessing was all mine. I felt a burden to do something about it. Just to use music as a way to share the gospel is what it began with, and then so we would bag up some groceries, take a few musicians out into a low-income neighborhood, secure the tennis court, set up and draw a crowd. Jimmy Morris, a great evangelist from the area, would come along and share with them, and pretty soon the need arose to address actually where were these people were sleeping, a lot of them, and I discovered cardboard boxes and dumpsters with people in them. And so Street Reach was born out of a need, trying to meet that need, and has survived for the last decade. I ran it for 5 years.
You actually ran it on a day-to-day basis. Of course, you were performing at night, so you could do that.
It was the nighttime working at the Opry at night made it possible. I could spend all day at the Mission, and then come in and do the opera show. And the music, of course, was what we used to support it. I played hundreds, maybe more than 200 churches over those 5 years, probably.
Wow.
And that's how we would raise the money to bring back and feed. We ended up feeding meals every day and housing people, so the expenses are big, but it's been an amazing journey. Those 5 years had a major impact on my life, my relationship with God, my relationship with others, keeping things in perspective. There's a lot of pain out there, and I'm just a big believer that music and art and the presentations of such can be a big tool to alleviate some of that pain. So that's pretty much why I'm in the business.
And you could see that in the folks you were serving through Street Reach. I mean, you could see that music was impacting them. I mean,
every day. I mean, even just if music only provided the money with which to put a roof over their head, that was enough. But I would gather up 10 or 12 of the guys that maybe had benefited through something we had to offer, and we would go to churches and they'd share their testimony or sing with me, or a lot of talented people comes through the Mission, all walks of life, and haven't had all kinds of experiences before their current situation. So there's not much difference between the homeless guy and us. We're all the same. We're all the same. We're just in different circumstances. So I had the pleasure of baptizing probably 300 people in the ocean.
Wow.
I would take them out 30 at a time.
Wow.
It was wonderful. So that mission gave me encouragement. It blessed me all the way from day one. And then, unfortunately, I had an automobile accident that I broke my neck and was out of commission for a couple of years. And
a couple of years?
The first year especially was all about just wondering if I would play the piano again. But after a lot of recovery and physical therapy and surgery, got me back on my feet, and I was able to play again. But the burden of trying to manage a job that's all-encompassing like the Opry and the Mission was just a little too much. And a dear soul, angel as far as I'm concerned, Libby Carter, came into my life a year before and had come out to help with the Mission, and she took over and still runs it today.
She's still running Street Reach. Great.
That's a great story sometime in and of itself, is how Libby came. I met her online.
Oh, wow.
In a Christian chat room, counseling her over the loss of a son. And she asked me what I did out here, and I said, well, we just opened a mission. She said, well, I'd like to come see it. And she came to visit, turned around, went back to Indiana, and packed up and moved here, and that was 8 years ago.
Way.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
She's carried that mission along with the support of don't get me wrong,
many volunteers and other
hundreds of
supporters,
people in churches and organizations
Right.
have supported that ministry, and I'm proud as punch of it. And today I take a more behind the scenes view, try to do some stuff if I can with the music to help out. But it runs now, and I'm proud of it. It was a great experience.
Well, we definitely want to highlight a little more on Street Reach, but of course you threw out the word Opry, and we've got to talk about that. But a little bit about yourself. Are you originally from the area?
Well, actually, I was born in Missouri. My father is a retired Air Force, and so he spent 22 years in the service, and so I traveled with him all the time when I was young, and then he finally retired in a little town in southeast Missouri that wasn't very far from where my mother's family was from, across the Arkansas line. Right. Every time my father would go overseas to fight or serve, we would move back to southeast Missouri, northeast Arkansas, and stay close to my mom's family.
Right.
Well, because of going back and forth 3 or 4 times, actually, over the course of the first 15 years of my life, my dad got to know the area, and he retired there. And so I finished high school in a little town in farming community in southeast Missouri. And then immediately after high school, I took off to go play music. And so I spent most of my early years on the road with my dad, and most of the next, up until I came to Myrtle Beach in 1986, on the road with my music. And then that's how I...
So you had a direct route from northeast Arkansas or Missouri to Myrtle Beach?
Yes. My father, eventually, after he settled in northeast and in southeast Missouri, he moved to Summerville, South Carolina.
Oh, great, near Charleston.
Yes, and so I came to visit in 1982, and I fell in love with the whole area. And so I moved and started doing solo work and working with a country rock band called Night Rider.
Oh, yeah.
In the early 80s, and worked with a wonderful fiddle player named Bill Haney, who was a Grand Ole Opry regular, and he took us on a Department of Defense tour all along the Mediterranean, playing for obscure Air Force and Marine bases where there might be only 9 or 10 people on top of a mountain.
Wow.
At a weather station.
And how large was Night Rider? How large was the group?
You could almost say we were bigger than some of the stations.
Of those groups.
Yeah.
Wow.
There was 6 or 7 of us traveling, and I think the smallest location maybe had 10 or 11 people. Most of the time it was about 20, something like that.
Sure.
So that was a great experience. But when I came back to Charleston after the Department of Defense tour is when my wife Kimberly, and I met her in Charleston. And we've been married for 20 years this year.
Congratulations.
And thank you. And she's the one that noticed the ad in the Summerville newspaper for the Carolina Opera
entertainers needed there. And
year-round was the main thing.
Oh, year-round. Yeah. Kimberly perked that one up.
So I rode up to Myrtle Beach to answer the ad, actually Surfside Beach. And that's an interesting story. I sat out in the lobby. There was no chairs left. Lots of people showed up for this, and there was a little tiny school desk, the kind with the little well, it was for a child, and I crunched into that little desk and sat there for I think 6 hours.
Oh, come on.
While they ran people through auditioning. Finally they called my name, and I go in, and they didn't have a piano to play. They had a small keyboard that was difficult to I'm a pianist, so it was a little difficult. So I sang Amazing Grace a cappella, 3 verses, modulating every verse until it sounded like someone had stepped on my foot. And after I got done, Mr. Gilmore had already listened to lots of great singers, and he said, well, Rocky, I'm really looking for a piano player. And I said, well, I have a keyboard that will do back in Charleston, and if I drive all the way back there and get it and bring it back here tomorrow, I'll do that if you'll promise me to give me the job if I play twice as well as I just sang the song. And so I went back and got my keyboard.
Great story.
That's how I got the job.
Now, how did he need a piano player and there wasn't a piano in
They thought the keyboard would do for auditions.
Right.
And the piano was on the way. It just hadn't, hadn't arrived yet.
So Carolina Opry had not yet opened.
Oh, no. This was pre I was one of the original cast members, the original 12, I think. There was 12 of us.
Wow.
And that was when the Legends Theater's in Surfside,
Right,
where
yeah.
it is now. That was our facility in 1986, May 2nd of 1986. We opened there, and so by that time, you know, everything was. He had gutted the building and turned it into a theater. It was a club or something before that,
Right.
and really improved the space, and it just went nuts from there. It
Yeah.
was crazy. And so I think 6 or 7 years later, we moved into the new facility, the
one
big
up
one that they're
right.
at now.
Sure.
And so for a total of almost 17 years and 4,500 shows, I played as their featured pianist, and
Wow.
just recently made the change.
Performing in front of thousands of folks.
Oh, it was great.
Yeah.
We probably played for between 3 and 4 million people over that time.
Lord. Yeah. What's that like, performing in front of so many folks on a
love it.
I guess on a regular bass, Rocky, early on there may have been some nerves that really roared, or are there nerves at the beginning of every performance?
Everyone.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done this. I'm celebrating personally my 20th year playing music on the Grand Strand.
Yeah.
You know, in one form or another.
Right.
And you know, out of those 5,000 performances, it doesn't matter if it's for 10 people in a coffee shop or 2,500 of them in a theater. I love them both the same, and I came to play. So my goal is just to be better than the last time they saw me.
Aha, good for you. Yes. We've heard performers talk about that, of always wanting to perform as if there's a gigantic crowd, or as if a major recording artist or someone who would line up performers is sitting in the crowd, not having any idea. Maurice Williams, the one who actually shared that with us.
I really don't want to know how many people are there. You know, I don't give much thought to, especially just before performance, how many people showed up. I give more thought to what am I going to give those people that did. And
Right.
hopefully that's working. I think if one thing I learned, and I learned an awful lot from my association at the Opry, and under a great producer, you know, there's no denying that was just a learning experience from the very beginning, and with a goal to eventually have my own facility like that and to actually do that sort of thing. I couldn't have come up under a better company. And when it was time to move on and start making these plans and arranging the relationships and the ties that were needed to finally do something like that, I did so thankful for that experience, because
Sure.
I think I learned a little bit about how to connect with an audience that's come to be not just entertained but touched or moved. And so I'm thankful for each and every one of those performances, and no matter what happened that day or how things went, 5 minutes before curtain time, everything changes, and it's all about them.
And you stepped away from the Opry just a few years ago. Who's following in your footsteps, and have you been to, just recently?
It'll be 2 years in September.
Okay, 2 years this September. Forgive me. And how have you been back to see whoever? Has someone followed in your footsteps there?
Oh yeah, they have a great. The cast there will always be spectacular.
Right.
And if I'm not mistaken, I haven't been back recently, but if I'm not mistaken, John England is still playing for them, and John's amazing. He's a great entertainer.
And of the original 12 performers, are any of them still there?
Aside from Calvin, Mr. Gilmore himself, Kim Sherbert, Bogey, the comedian,
Right.
Rita Gum, vocalist and great gospel voice, and Steve Templeton, was maybe the youngest member of the cast when he joined, and
Right.
big country music singer. Those three are still there.
I'm sure there's a handful of viewers who've never seen the show, and I assume there were different performances during the year, and probably a one that would be there most all the time.
Yes, it's the way. There was two main changes. The bulk of the year was a show that continues to change. You change out songs, you change out skits, and then the Christmas performance.
Right.
So there's two main shows: the regular season show and the Christmas performances. And most of the shows in town, the industry that resulted from Calvin's bringing the show here,
Right.
resulted in a large industry for us, and made it possible for us to actually consider becoming an entertainment destination. The Grand Strand is a viable entertainment destination. So I want to contribute to that, and I wasn't getting any younger.
So you got absolutely. There's a lot of focus now. We want to talk about Music Canvas. I know recently Diane Devon Stokes was with us highlighting the Can-Am Days Festival, and she highlighted a big event that you you and others were putting on to help raise some funds for Dr. Bill Green's an upcoming trip to Haiti. Share with the viewers real quick about that experience. We got about 10 minutes.
Sure. One of the main focuses since living in the Opry was to use music to raise funds for artistic, educational, and inspirational challenges. So we played tons of different things. I took off with a Christmas show called A Christmas Journey with Bill Oberst Jr.
Right.
And we played all through North Carolina. I want to shouts out to Morganton. I know you guys probably reached Morganton, and that town practically adopted us. I played there many, many times, and we just loved playing through North Carolina with A Christmas Journey. And then locally, we've Merle's Inlet 2007, the Boardwalk. We helped raise money for them.
Great.
Dr. Green came to me. I was playing at I was doing a dinner concert series at a fine restaurant in Myrtle Beach, and Dr. Green came to one of the performances and told me about Haiti and his work there. And so I looked at all the tapes and found out more about the work he was doing, and we put together the concert to dig the freshwater well and septic system there. And it worked. I think we raised all the money we needed to with the support of all the area chambers of commerce and businesses. And it was an amazing effort. We did 2 shows at the Legends Theater. And,
wow. Yes.
So, and Music Canvas is simply combining abstract painting with music. And in specific, I will pair up with an abstract painter. Of late, it's been Tammy Blanton from North Myrtle Beach and Bill Stridesky from Myrtle Beach, both great abstract painters. Bill recently opened a gallery in Conway with a whole room dedicated to the art that has been made that he and I have done
from music canvases.
From music canvases, and I have a bunch of them in my living room that I love from Tammy's. And all I do is ask them what color they're going to start with, and they'll pick a color, and then I'll think about the color and begin to compose something, make something up.
Wow.
They listen to the music and paint what they hear. I watch what they paint and play what I see, and we go on until the canvas.
This is difficult to imagine at some level. I mean, it's quite
invigorating.
Did you originally come up with this?
I don't know. It just happened. It came up I thought, we need to I'd like to see a painting of my music.
And have you ever seen anything similar at all anywhere, nationally
not
or worldwide?
Before.
Right.
But I found a guy on the internet, I think, that he paints huge murals to Broadway music being danced to, Right. And then in the country music scene, as a matter of fact, there's an act who a painter travels with in their live shows and paints paints while they
perform.
I haven't found anyone who is using it in the sense that both pieces of art, the music and the artwork itself, are created on the spot. Lots of people are playing music while somebody paints, but it has little to do with what's being painted, or a very indirect relationship. With Music Canvas, in its purest sense, the music is dictated by the painting, and vice versa. So it's a unique in that you get 2 brand new works of art that only the people who showed up that day get to witness its creation.
Wow.
On the 17th, we're going to be doing that at Brook Green.
Yes, at Brook Green Gardens. That's 10 days from now.
Yes, 2 weeks from Friday. I love Brook Green. Last year we played their Cool Summer Evenings concert series and the Nights of 1,000 Candles Christmas series. And if I'm not mistaken, I'm going to go on a limb here. I believe we broke all records for attendance.
Oh, come on.
It was amazing. People showed up in droves. At Christmas time, the tent I was in, and there was tons of great entertainment there. It wasn't just me.
Sure.
But the tent that Bill and I shared, Bill Oberst and I shared with alternating acts, I think held 450, and people surrounded the tent just to look in the windows so they couldn't get in. And so this summer, instead of using just a keyboard and a little setup for the concert series, we're actually bringing my grand piano and a stage.
Oh, great.
One little thing that not anybody knows about is you have the scoop on is that I coach a Miss North Carolina pageant girl. Her name's Christina Castevens, and Christina's a pianist, and the Miss North Carolina pageant is the 24th or something, in the week of the 24th, right. And so she's going to come on the 17th to this first Brook Green gig to play her piece for the people who show up there in practice for the Miss North Carolina pageant.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And Tammy Blanton is coming and doing a music canvas of the piece.
Tammy Blanton from North Myrtle Beach.
The painter.
This will be down at Brook Green Gardens, June 17th. Now, if a viewer wanted to learn more about that, you can
visit my website or brookgreengardens.org. Right.
Brookgreen.org.
Brookgreen.org.
Brookgreen.org. And yours is rockytfretz.com.
Yes, rockytfretz.com. You can email me from there. I'm very accessible, and I answer almost all my emails personally. So,
Right.
So I look forward to hearing from anyone that wants to know more about what we're up to.
Now, you also have some information about some of the CDs you've put out, as well as some upcoming CDs. I think you brought a couple of them with you.
I did. I have 4 CDs that are currently out. One is a Christmas CD that I didn't bring one with me.
Right.
This one is...
Which is your first?
This would be, in order of recording, this would be the first one.
That's A Better Way.
It's called A Better Way.
Right.
And it has, I cover several pieces that a lot of people are familiar with me playing. Phantom of the Opera, In Memory from Cats, Exodus, How Great Thou Art. There's a lot of cover pieces on it.
Right.
And then this was my first all-original CD, and it's called Music That Heals. And each song on the Music That Heals CD is inspired by different gifts that I believe we all have access to, or energy, or for instance, imagination, or life, or power. They're all listed on the back, and I just wrote songs to help each of those energies be realized in our lives.
Wow.
And so if you're stuck for an answer to a particular question, maybe Wisdom is the song you just listen to for a few times and let the answer come. And so what I decided to do is make a series out of the Music That Heals CD.
Right.
And do one CD for every one of those gifts. And this is the first one. It's called Imagination, Vision Beyond Appearances. So, for instance, if you need a creative idea for a project that you have, you might put the CD on, open up your mind to let your imagination wander a bit, and then write down what happened later, and maybe they'll become tools, practical tools for personal life.
Tremendous.
Music's a powerful, powerful tool in a lot of aspects.
I think you said earlier this morning that it's a 12-part series, or you've got 12 planned. So Imagination's the first of 12,
and the second one is ready to record. I hope to have it for the August Brookgreen gigs. We hope to have it back by then.
Right.
And that one's Zeal. You know,
Z-E-A-L.
Z-E-A-L. Energy and a positive outlook is all, and it's a jazz CD.
It's an
original
CD.
jazz
Right.
CD, solo piano jazz CD, and I wrote 8 of the pieces and then I'm covering "Fly Me to the Moon" and a couple of other standards. But I'm looking forward to releasing that one.
I bet you are. Absolutely. You mentioned the August performance. We're talking about August 19th at Brookgreen
Yes,
Gardens.
at
We've
Brookgreen.
got 2 other July 8 and July 29 at Brookgreen Gardens. But if a viewer visited rockytfretz.com,
yes,
they would see a little bit of some upcoming performances.
Yes,
This would be
my
there.
schedule's on there, pictures, the CDs are all
Appearances,
available.
great. Sure.
You know.
I opened that site earlier this morning and saw a great shot of you. And how long have you have you worn your hair this way, Rocky?
Since I was little. So
Little?
Well, I would say since I was.
Is your hair longer than your wife's? Excuse me.
Yes.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
She ever rib you about
and
that?
I cut. No, she likes it.
She likes it. Yeah. 20 years.
I cut it one time, short actually. I'm gonna guess it was 10 years ago, because somebody said, "Why don't you get a haircut?" And maybe the mood or something struck me, and so I said, "Okay." So I did, and you would not believe the letters and response from people were writing and saying, "What did you do? What happened to your curls?" So I'm kind of like Samson. I'm afraid if I lose it, which is going to happen.
Yeah, at some point.
That I'll lose my strength and power. But until then, we'll just let it grow.
Let it go. Absolutely. So it just is constantly growing. I mean, you trim it a little bit.
I keep it trimmed,
right.
but it curls up so much it doesn't get much longer every year. It just gets curlier.
Yeah, this funny weather like this, and last week with all the rain leading up to sunfall.
I can always tell you when it's going to rain. My hair is particularly curly when it's going to rain. But it's just become part of the show, part of the persona.
Sure.
It flops around really big, and I'm kind of a animated player as well. I stand up a lot, and
really,
I just love to attack the instrument. If it's a strong enough instrument that can handle it, like I play a Yamaha C7 grand piano now, and it's a workhorse. I can just beat it to death, and
wow.
So I enjoy doing it that way.
You think about kicking off Music Canvas and really seeing that for fruition, and knowing that that's becoming a staple and an opportunity there at Brookgreen Gardens 10 days from now, as well as throughout July and August.
Absolutely.
So it's very exciting for you, Rocky.
I've never been happier. I've never been more challenged, because jumping off the ship 2 years ago, it was a pretty steady ship, and these are unsteady waters. but I'm confident, and I'm really looking forward to the near future and the more distant future with being a part of the Myrtle Beach and Grand Strand music community and arts community. And no matter what I do, this is home. I love this area. I'm committed to it, and I intend to just try to do the best I can with what we have.
Those are great words. Thanks so much for being with us this morning.
My pleasure. Really, I appreciate you having me here.
Absolutely,
Thanks, Greg.
Rocky. Good luck with Zeal and the
you.
next 10 after that. Stay tuned to more Carolina People with Rocky T. Fretz coming up next. You know, think about that, helping recognize the spiritual side. The music can really have an impact on you. Kicking off the first one, Imagination, here in a 12-part series. Zeal's coming up next. It's about to be recorded. Take the time. Visit online, rockytfretz.com. You know, you recognize that spiritual side. He gives highlights on the spiritual side of music. He also gave a highlight to his beautiful wife of 20 years, Kimberly, and the excitement of her noticing that ad when they're down in Somerville of full-time employment needed on the Grand Strand. Think about that. Cool Summer Evenings is coming up 10 days from now. It kicks off. These are 4 Friday nights. You got to get them down. June 17, July 8, July 29, and August 19th. He said you got to get out there early. It's going to be big crowds, not only Rocky, but many others. 4 to 4:30. You can go online at rockytfretz.com, and to learn more about a very special venture, take a look at musiccanvas.com.